Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 6th of December again. Still, I put out a lot of videos today, and a lot of them are relating directly to the work that this guy right here from A Plain Truth YouTube channel, plantruth.com, A Plain Truth 2. The links will be in the description. Jayme's been on the ground out there, and for most of us, George Herbert Walker Bush passing away, stopping the mail, shutting down the banks, kind of distracted everybody from what's going on out there. But these guys have a whole different story to tell, and it makes me remember my own and many other people's words that 2018 breaks down to 9/11, and these people live by these codes, and it looks like California is under attack. Am I wrong here?
Hey guys, and thanks Richie for having me on. I mean, it's just an honor to be with you, and you know, we've shared the path separately from Bright Coast and West Coast, and you know, it's just wonderful to get this out to your audiences and whatnot, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's just been one thing after another. Those that have been following the fires that hit back in October of 2017, again, that was on October 8th and October 9th. These attacks were on, and their attacks, 11/8 and 11/9. Still the 9/11 theme going on. There's 666 motives going everywhere. So we know. Everywhere. I mean, they're just so blatant with this. It's so in our face. Did I send you the Mountain Dew cans? Maybe you could put that up where they got the Mountain Dew cans that are saying Mountain Dew. Get it? Yeah, the Mountain Dew cans are saying high voltage and high wire and supernova.
Oh, dude,
and black.
It just dawned on me. Mountain Dew. I can't believe that went right by me, dude. I didn't even. DEW right in the front. I didn't even get it.
Dude, DEW, dude, yeah. So I'm not calling it the New World Order. I'm calling it the Do World Order, DWO, because that's their motive now. Is they're just basically just carving out their territories. And I put a big article out. There you go, right there. Look at what they says. Live wire, pitch black. Then we got our beer, Sierra Nevada beer. Up there on the right, they came out with the Butte County resilience, because they're putting in resilient cities. And then you got Code Red there in the upper left.
Jayme, I completely missed that, dude. I didn't even catch that one thing, because there's just so much information in the, 600 missing, 6 dead. They just love the numbers. They're talking to each other. And as soon as one of my subscribers sent me a link and said, dude, that crisis actor is there again. As soon as I saw her, right. That's it. It's a capstone event. We're not freaking out. This is real. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, and no. And it's also that, the guy with the shirt on, that the Armed Society shirt on, who breaks down and crying on CNN, the Armed Society, and they're saying, oh, everybody's armed up there. And that's another conversation that the first victims of people that we actually interviewed. We've done 2 interviews with different people up there. We're going back again tomorrow, but they're talking about, hey, you want to talk about gun confiscation? They just did it. Everybody in their cars that had it, and everybody in their homes, they just got rid of all the guns. So that's another big subject matter. But just to follow through on this you got up here, the directed energy weapons, Mountain Dew, DEW, and then having beer named after it. The missing persons, we're going through all the missing persons, because allegedly there's different discrepancies. The town size that's incorporated and unincorporated is around 52,000 people. And the Guardian newspaper back in the second week, about November 12th or 14th, said 52,000 people had gotten out of Paradise, which matches with the incorporated and unincorporated. But if you go on Wikipedia, you see their number is 26,200 people, and the number over 10 years trend does not change at all. And all the people that I interviewed and spoke with said, oh my gosh, Paradise has been growing like crazy. So we've been going and trying to find out body counts. I've gone to the Red Cross centers. There's only 4 of them. There's nobody there. Note that the Red Cross is not asking for donations. Notice they're not doing like you go into Safeway and say, will you donate to Hurricane Florence or Hurricane Harvey?
PayPal, all that. They're always asking for. You're right. I didn't catch that either.
Yeah, why aren't they doing that? Why? No, it's okay. No, it's just we're putting the pieces together. So I've got an interview coming out tomorrow. We did a 45-minute interview with a security guard for the Red Cross at the Butte County Fairgrounds. And at the Butte County Fairgrounds, the Red Cross, the guy said they had 90 people in there. He came out from Georgia. He was flown out on, get this, Richie, November 8th, he was stationed there. The fire started the morning of November 8th, and they were already stationed in the Butte County Red Cross had people coming in from out of the country.
That's
and so
their
then
MO,
also,
man. That's what I mean. Remember
yep.
September 10th? That's what they do. They're there the day before, and no one seems to notice.
Look at that picture. You see how they burned the signs up? They did the same thing up in Whiskey Town, where the car fire started. Right, car fire. They burned the sign in half. They're so surgical about what they're doing. Their intent is so overwhelmingly intentional. And Deborah Tavares and I, there's a massive, Richie, FEMA camp up there too, which is about 15 miles southwest of Butte County, of Paradise. Now that's us up on a ridge. That's watch this video, guys, as we go through this. This is a lady named Shelley Lewis, who was a wonderful person. She was a West Point cadet. She was an air paratrooper. And then she got over-vaccinated by the military and got lupus and had to get honorably discharged, and then became a vegan, and now she's a vegan cook and chef. But look, they already put up guardrails, dude. They put up new guardrails already. This is what Deborah Tavares is going to report on. Oh, yeah. They got street cleaners coming in. They're cleaning the streets.
Because they're done. They're going to move on to the next one.
Well, that's what I'm calling it. They clear-cut 52,000. Yeah. They clear-cut 52,000 people out of Paradise. We can't find any victims. We find the missing persons count is 1,421. 1,421. What number is that, Richie?
Oh, my. You haven't found any place where they relocated all the people because the town's empty now, right?
The hotels are open. The Airbnbs aren't booked, just like what happened to us. Airbnbs got booked out. They got brought up on charges of what do you call it when they're taking advantage of people. And look at all these trucks, guys. There was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of PG&E trucks coming down off the hill at the end of work. This was sunset. This was last Sunday, I believe. So they're working on a Sunday, and here's these cherry pickers. And we didn't see any cars coming off the hill. It was just a ton of cherry pickers. Now watch this shot coming up, because you're going to see this encampment. This is on Skyway Drive, the main entrance. That's going west out towards the Pacific coast. We're about 50 miles due north of Sacramento off of 99, heading up towards Redding. And also that the fires being hit, we're showing the 14 fires we've had in 14 months. We've had a Redding fires, the 2 Redding fires. We've had Lake County, Mendocino Complex, Santa Rosa, Sonoma, down to Santa Barbara, where they came back and hit them with rain. The Woolsey fire, the Malibu fires, and now back up to Paradise. And guess what it follows? The great Redwood Highway rail train that they want to put up all the way up to Seattle, part of Mega Regions 2030. So look at this. This is their setup. This is the setup coming up here on the left. When it comes up, you'll see this massive. I mean, this thing's on easily 20 acres, and they have tents on it. And so why is PG&E, if a town, let's say the number they're using is 25,000, why 1 month after is there massive PG&E trucks going up? If you and I both looked at all the footage, and there's very few trees that burned. So if the story is that PG&E trees fell on the PG&E transformers, that they took out the trees that did it. Well, there's no trees that are burned or falling down. That's not happening. So why would you need just hundreds and hundreds of trucks going up into Paradise, which is on total lockdown, and nobody can get in or out? And they're not doing body counts anymore because, quote, they said to us, the dental office burned down in Paradise, so we can't do any missing people matches anymore. But the people, no, it's all the guys from there that we interviewed, and I have them on. A tow truck driver who grew up here. He works directly with the California Highway Patrol. He says, I didn't recognize anybody. They escorted me into areas. I think you saw the footage of the skeleton inside the cars. We finally got confirmation that these people were vaporized in their cars at 8:30 in the morning. The fire started at 6:30. To a person, they said there was no wind. To a person, they said there was massive chemtrail spraying, loops on loops on loops, the 2 and 3 days before the attacks occurred. We have the FEMA camp, this massive FEMA camp that's over 20 acres with, I counted 18 5-hitches, double hitch semis. They have a double circus tent like a Cirque du Soleil, and they have a military National Guard. This tow truck driver said he didn't recognize any of them. It was all militarized police. And there's like, look at this picture. You're going to tell me that's crazy. A forest fire?
This is crazy. Everything but the forest is burned. It's amazing.
That's a mobile home with people in it that were torched in their homes and had nowhere to go, and the trees did not burn. And the story was it was the smoke, and then they put smoke over us for about 8 days, where it was about 3,000 foot thick from this thing. When the no trees burn, you're blowing smoke up my ass, folks.
Right. You know? And let me explain. Nope. I saw the video, and you did a great job. They can use.
Look at this. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. Let me interrupt you for a sec.
Go ahead.
This is an article trying to destroy California. Look at the number down at the bottom, 13. It's a PG&E guy on fire pointing. Is PG&E trying to destroy us? It's Pacific Gas and Electric is our local energy place here. Go ahead.
Wow. Well, what I was going to say is they can use the weather. They can use the chemtrails to stop fronts and isolate things and keep smoke in an area, like putting a lid on a bowl, and they have been. And I'm watching these guys. All these people are coming out, and they're just basically shrugging their shoulders. Well, it's the new norm. California's always going to be on fire. We're not going to warn anybody before the fire comes. And if you die, we're not going to keep track because, you know, that's a lot of work. This is laughable. Yeah. This is crazy.
Well, this is coming home to roost. I forget who wrote the book about, you know, the Native American chronicler. He says, you know, chickens coming home to roost. I mean, this is, you know, okay. So here's what they're saying: these telephone poles broke and they fell on the tree line. The trees fell on the telephone lines. But here's a very important document. If you could stop this for a quick sec. This was come out like 3 days after the attacks. Aborted power shutdown plan, and I don't know if you can read that or not. But it's saying these fires that they did not. There was not enough winds. Because PG&E Power now has the authority to turn off your power preemptively if the winds get up to a certain area above 20 miles an hour. And they've already shut off power to over 200,000 people in some trial runs in Sacramento, in Auburn, and here in Santa Rosa about 3 weeks ago. So now they're making the case here that the winds weren't enough to justify turning off the power. Yet the story is that the winds came from the east and went from the west out of nowhere. We never have winds from the east, Richie. I've windsurfed all my life in the San Francisco Bay. We've got 12,000 foot Sierra Nevada mountains. No winds, very little winds. And if you keep clicking on that, you can see down the road, I'm going to talk about it. With the wind profile is none of south-southwest. Look at that, south-southwest. And look at that stream of plume that was put over us for 8 days from the campfire. Now, no trees burned. So, excuse me, what the heck is that? And to give you an idea, you see Lake Tahoe right there. Lake Tahoe is 22 by 11, 22 miles long by 11 miles wide. So that can give you a little indication of how big these plumes are that they're spreading out in this new type of technology. And you'll see the same exact profile happen down in Malibu. So it's some type of, I'm calling them chemical plastics. Nobody smelled smoke. They all to a person said at 6:30 in the morning, they tried to get out, and it's on a bluff about 1,100 foot. And there's only 2 ways out. Everybody was on the sides of the roads in one lane. There was one lane completely open. And I have first-person accounts. We've seen the videos where people, that's a great shot right there, that people were literally burned alive in their cars as they sat on the side of the road waiting for help. And no one came to help them. And now they're not doing body counts. And we can't account for 52,000 people. I went to the Red Cross. There, that right there. Look at the south-southeast. At the 20-mile-an-hour winds, you've got south-southwest, SSW. You've got 0, 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. 20 to 25, you've got south-southwest 0. So they never had incidences before of weather going this way, and all of a sudden out of nowhere at 6:30 in the morning, this thing comes up. This is the wind profile we had for our fires. This was a year ago, October 8th, 2017 in Santa Rosa, and you can see the winds came out of nowhere. This is justifying their term fire NATO, new creation. How did we flip 3,000-pound cars on their roof? Well, we got this thing fire NATO now that goes at hundreds of miles an hour and heats up to 2,800 degrees. The hottest forest fire ever on record is 1,724 degrees, and below that is like 1,500 degrees. How did they flip cars on their roof? So we're going in, and why is P&G doing this massive operation in a militarized zone? These are our pictures. We couldn't get in. We're going in tomorrow. These guys got press passes, so we're going to go in. This is Shelly's picture. She talked to these guys because she was a West Point cadet, so she can speak their language. But it's a lockdown. And why is FEMA now you know, FEMA says that Deborah Tavares has on record, and she's going to publish, Richie, that she went into the FEMA camp and she's got on record. The guy, she said, "How long you guys been here?" She goes, "Oh, we've been here since the attacks of November 8th." And she said, "Oh, you've been here." This is the protection company here, if anybody wants to look them up. So November 8th, she's got guys on record in the National Guard saying, "We've been here for the attacks." They're using the word, "We've been here for the attacks." I mean, how many smoking guns do we need?
The Freudian slips have to come out once in a while. That's beautiful right there. That's gold. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy.
Well, why did Trump go to paradise?
The military trucks are all armed, man. That's not just
here's the other security service. This is an international security service, MLC Security. It's hard if any sleuths out there can do some research on these guys. I think we're going to find some Blackwater connections in there. I saw a bunch of spooks around looking with these things on the sides of the trucks, you know, the beards, and looking pretty military. And, you know, I went down to Hurricane Harvey and I spent a week down there interviewing people. And, you know, you were coming out too when that was happening. So I got my teeth cut on that. And then I got my teeth cut at Santa Rosa 3 weeks later, we got attacked. So now I'm going up and I'm looking up here. And these people, to a person says, that live there, that have grown up there all their life, has said this is a mass murder. So everybody says, well, where's all the people? Good question. Where's all the sites of people looking for people? Good question.
It's amazing some of the stories you've gotten from the people that are on the ground that live there. The messages, everything that you've been sending is insane, man. It's complete. People saying they were walking their dog at 6:30 in the morning and the military goes over and drops bombs, cluster bombs. That's crazy stuff. That's what got my attention, because I was just like everyone else. This was just going down the memory hole, the next new event. You know what I mean? Because that's what they do. We get another event, one side, the other. But California has been on the list for a long, long time. There's a lot of resources there, and they want it. They want us out. The thing that gets me is the amount of pictures you've gotten of trees turning blue and then bursting into flames. That is directed energy. That is the correct color spectrum to make something absolutely spontaneously combust. You've got that a couple of times. You've seen them, right? Well, obviously,
well, no, the first responders, the guys in the tow truck, they took the pictures while they were having that happen. And those pictures you're talking about is prima facie evidence, you know, of a directed energy attack. When they were saying, look at these, see the triangles? Those are the SR-71, no, SR-4338Bs. Yep, those are them. Look at the trails coming out of the back of them to the left there, Richie. You see them coming out of the back, and if you click, just let it go one more, you'll see another shot. That was taken the night we were there. That was taken just a little bit down the road in the Sierra foothills. Look at that guy. See him coming out of it?
Just for the people that don't get it, if they're going to fly military vehicles, which they have, remember the Phoenix V or whatever it was called, but it was an enormous V-shaped craft. It was one of the first times they flew this. They use cloud cover just like this to cover it up. It's part of the stealth technology. It's old. And they also have enormous blimps like this as well. I think you touched on that a couple of times.
Yeah, and we estimated that that's maybe 400 feet across. So you're talking a big, look at that shot. That was that night. So do you remember Elon Musk did the launch of the alleged rocket in Santa Barbara last month?
Yep.
And then we'll get into that in a minute. But that's the same exact visual that we had over Santa Rosa that we saw in many other places that night when that whatever they did up there was put up there. But this is now over.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy, dude. You've got so much evidence. This is crazy.
And so that was that night. And so now they're saying, hey, you know, we're going to bring FEMA trailers, because that's what they did here. They brought FEMA trailers. They parked them in the Sonoma County Fairgrounds. Everybody got FEMA trailers. And remember, this camp is like 20, 30 acres of a massive operation of emergency services FEMA camp. Oh, but we're sorry. This is what date? This was like 3 days ago. We don't have room for anybody.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Pretty crowded.
Look, that's the camp, Richie, right there. That's the encampment, Office of Emergency Services. These are our pictures, and the FEMA Center.
Wow.
And the FEMA Center. And you see the trucks there, the yellow ones.
The command post is all set up. That's it. There, as far as housing their people and their operatives and their spooks and everything else, that's all set. That's what we're looking at. But for the people,
if you keep going, I'm going to show you the big party tent. These big double like Cirque du Soleil tents. I mean, they're established. This is next to the airport. And so if we went in there with clothes and food, and we went in there and said, there's the 5H. And look at that. They're all parked everywhere. We have no room for FEMA trailers. Can you give me a break? Look at that. Look at those tents. They're not going anywhere, folks.
No,
and
no,
why
no.
are they setting? Yeah. So we went in there with all these clothes and food, and we went in the emergency services place and said, hey, we're looking at all these clothes. We got all these donations. We got all this food. Can you direct us? And the National Guard guy, he was from Petaluma, he says, let me go ask my supervisor. I have no idea. Well, this is 3-4 weeks after, you can stop it there, but 3-4 weeks after the attacks, they don't even know where you can distribute things to help people. And they had to go ask their supervisor. Look at that right there. Hell on earth, the Paradise Inferno, except on the West Coast. Hey, and look at the bread and circuses in the background. 6, they're just playing us.
It's exactly how they do it, man. To tell you the truth, I was kind of sliding down the memory hole too, going on to something else. I'm glad I found your latest upload, man, because of course it's not in my subscriptions. It shows up elsewhere or someone sends it to me, which is ridiculous,
right.
But it's YouTube.
No,
you know the drill.
Yeah, they just do all these things. But think about this for a sec, this massive operation where they're not accepting donations. They don't know how to help anybody. Why would they be there? Why is PG&E up the hill putting a major league staging operation? Well, Paradise was visited by Donald Trump, Gavin Newsom, the next governor, and the ex-governor, Jerry Brown of California. They all went there to Paradise. They did not come out to Sonoma County, the wine country. They didn't go up to Redding. They didn't go down to Malibu. They specifically came to Paradise. And there's a book by John Milton called Lost in Paradise. And there's dozens and dozens of songs, including the ones by Phil Collins and the Eagles, The Last Resort, that talks about, they called it paradise.
Well, Paradise Lost has a lot of implications, including biblical, man. So they're playing on that
absolutely.
All day. Playing on this all day.
Yeah, get this. This is another fun discussion. And you and I are just like, look at this. This is Lockheed Martin's own cover of their internet website. They're showing a car being torched. Can it get any clearer, folks?
Right,
Jeez,
right.
Wake the heck up.
This is crazy. I've told people they're going to use whatever is indicative to your area. If you live in a place where there's lots of wildfires, that's what they're going to use. If you get hurricanes, that's what they're going to use. If you get tsunamis or heavy snow, that's what they're going to use. When you mentioned about the people that didn't even get a chance to get out of their car, it reminds me when we went to that place in West Virginia where they got hit with a rain bomb. They got so much rain in the mountains that the people died in their houses. They couldn't get it. The water came in so high, they couldn't get out of their own house. That doesn't make sense. That's not natural whatsoever at all. And it's the same thing here. Those cars lined up and down the highways and people are burned to a crisp in them. Come on, man. Everyone decided, let's stay in our car and die.
They were told, they actually, look at this. Dianne Feinstein's husband wins near $1 billion California high-speed rail contract. That was last week. So they're going to clear cut all the lands to put the railroads in. There's the richest guy, richer than Bill Gates, and owns more land than Ted Turner, a guy named Red Emerson, who bought up all this guy right here, bought up all the Southern Pacific Railroad lands, Sierra Pacific Railroads, and all the lumber, and he makes a fortune harvesting fire charred and timber. He goes and funds the local fire stations, so they'll go in first because he wants to save the lumber. So here's his bio, his history, the whole thing. This guy's richer than Bill Gates, and nobody's ever heard of him. And these people tell me they've shot gun. Red Emerson.
Red did Emerson. You hear that, Amy? Truth happens. She'll get on that. Unbelievable.
And then
you're doing a great job, brother. You're doing it. It's just absolutely outstanding.
I'm doing this just on I don't know how I keep going because we haven't slept in weeks trying to get all this stuff out, posted, go up there. It's about a 3-4 hour drive. But we got 2 20-year senior fire captains going with us. They're reporting. They're going to be doing their own stuff coming out of the closet. They say the firemen are scared to death because they don't know what's happening and they don't know what they're getting into. And also they've been militarized. When they get in, they get escorted. And so all the local fire departments here, because they defunded them, are having to go under CAL FIRE under one roof. They're being defaulted to CAL FIRE. So they're losing their authorities and losing their independent powers. And so it's all by control. And then California new laws, all of us going to have to, a new building, we're all going to have solar panels, and it's going to be all electric. Santa Rosa is passing a law that says all new homes is going to be all electric. It's not going to be using any gas. So why are they saying no more gas? Well, they're saying, oh, it's a pollutant, it's this and that. We're going to bring energy. Everybody's going to have their own energy footprint that they're going to have from their house to be controlling. Each house is going to have to be self-sufficient with its own solar energy. So then they're also saying that the garages have to have a battery in it because people couldn't get out through the garage, but they're getting rid of natural gas. Well, why did they hit Houston, Harvey? Why did they hit Houston, Richie? Do you know?
I don't.
Oil refineries. What are they turning to? Battery cars. Do they think they need oil refineries anymore for switching to battery
I did
power?
do that answer. I was typing, sorry. Yeah, and it's
No
funny
worries.
because they've already started that scare in Massachusetts because an entire town exploded from gas. So everyone's terrified of gas now. You know what I'm saying? And
well, you see how they're setting the
in
meme.
trenches. I've worked on high pressure.
Yeah, all
I've worked
electric
on high
ready
pressure gas lines.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's yeah. And so this is all electric, and they're setting the meme where you are, and they're implementing it here. Regional program, last year's Inferno, PG&E, and this ties in with ICLEI, the International Council for Local Environment. It ties in with ABAG, the Bay Area. You know, it's all regulatory under Agenda 21 shit that they're getting us all off gas. We're all going to be in our automated cars. You know, the 5G is going to be coming down from the sky. Look at this. Sonoma power broker Darius Anderson is a PG&E lobbyist.
Of course,
this guy owns the Press Democrat newspaper. He's the one that appointed James Lee Witt, the former Clinton FEMA director, to come here 3 days after we got attacked in Santa Rosa and head the Rebuild North Bay program that Darius Anderson, the newspaper owner of the Sonoma Media Group, appointed him. How did they appoint a former FEMA director? Well, it turns out James Lee Witt, former FEMA director, owns a company called Witt O'Brien that was sold to Secor. Secor is a publicly traded company. You can look it up. They made $17 million in the fourth quarter of 2017. Drum roll, please. On disaster capitalism from Hurricane Harvey and Irma.
Unbelievable.
It gets
unbelievable. Americans are going to get exactly what they deserve by allowing things like, you know, the Wi-Fi lobbyist Tom Wheeler to become the FCC director until he pushes 5G through and then he steps down. These guys, it's what it is. It's just a joke. And it's on.
But look, they're putting more cameras. We got drones on us now. I've got 3 drones that come out here over in Santa Rosa and park it over us. They're monitoring everything we're doing out here now. It's a resource extraction. They're putting in industrial rails. They're taking it over. They're using these red flag warnings you're seeing here. Winds over 20 miles an hour. They shut off your power preemptively. So anybody wants to make any money, get in the generator business, come out to California.
Wow.
And I think everybody should get in the generator business as well. So, you know, the home prices are going to, you know, and here's the solar projects they're planning on putting up. So getting back to Elon Musk, he said that by 2020, all 5G is going to be coming from space platforms and lasered down, get this, at pulses of 150 to 200,000 per second.
And see,
so
I just did a story on that, man. It's not the sustained, it's the pulsing that damages humans. So of course they're going to be pulsing it directly from the sky. This is great. This is great.
Now look at this mirror. Look at this map right here. Okay, this isn't updated. It doesn't include the, but you get an idea of the pattern in California here. Now to click it a little farther, and guess what you see? Just do the next thing that comes up here, and what you're going to see is the exact same profile where the railroads are supposed to go. Right there. I almost got it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I saw that. That's absolutely. I'm
you
dying.
Can't then on top of that,
isn't that amazing? What a coincidence.
Right. So the trains are going exactly, and I've been chronicling these quote smart trains that started in Sanderfeld. That's 10 years behind schedule and 20 times over budget, is going all the way up to Eureka, up to the northernmost part of California. But get this. They're using industrial rail lines. They're not using passenger rail lines. The gauges are much thicker because they're putting in industrial rails. So they have to clear cut all the redwoods. So Brown just is passing a law that says because of the fire dangers, because of the forest, we should start trimming and cutting all the trees down right along the same path they're talking about. That's why the the car fire in Redding, and they showed the car started the fire. Well, what did they show? They showed a big semi with logs on it. Because they're telling you they're going to be logging and the roads aren't going to be doing it. It's going to be the railways. And then they're putting in 5 mega dams at a cost of $500 billion in the California basins because the snowpack will not be providing the water. We're going to have to build out these mega dams. This was legislation from November 2014. This is my article. Jerry Brown got legislation passed to build 5 mega dams from Fresno all the way up to Lake County up here, where they're going to be storing all the water because there's not going to be enough snow coming off the Sierras, which is 40% of the water supply. And then in 2022, California, all Californians are going on water diets, just like we're going on lane diets in our cars. And they're going to cut our allocations by up to 30% of personal water usage. And it's $1,000 a day fine for if you go over your usage. That's in our headlights too. So the fires that hit up in Lake County, they've been hit 4 separate times. That's Lake County where they're putting in one of the mega dams. So how do you eminent domain it? You just clear everybody out and you got the property. You don't have to do any legal stuff, right? It's sick.
Well, this is the reason. This was the reason they developed all these weapons in the first place, because you nailed it back there. Terrorists don't have weapons that we need all this special shit for. We're seeing what the weapons are used for right now. This is it. Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 has been on their mind for time immemorial. That comes out of the UN. That's not something we made up on the internet. We're watching them doing it right now. Trees aren't good for high-speed rails. Trees aren't good for 5G. So let's get rid of the trees and get rid of the people. Screw it. This is crazy, dude.
Well, yeah, it is. And also note that Bohemian Grove is to the west off of 101 towards the coast. So you got Bohemian Grove, the elite's little party town that they've had since 1870s and 80s, something like that. So I think they're just using California now as a resource allocation of using timber, of using, now the town they hit, Paradise, has in the center of it a gold museum. Gold Nugget Museum, it's called, right in the center of town. And it turns out that underneath there, the town of Paradise used to be called Pair of Dice. It used to be a casino. And that picture I just showed you was a picture from the movie Back into the Future, where Biff, the guy that was picking on Michael Fox, is allegedly Trump. He owns a casino called Paradise Casino. I mean, Shocking. You can't make this stuff up. They pre-program it.
Unbelievable. Listen, so did any of the residents, nobody got any warnings from the government via the automatic phone calls, the presidential emergency line telling them that this was coming? This was a total surprise.
To a person. I have what's it called? Nexel, what everybody's subscribing on out here. I had the sign, I had all the signups. I didn't get one notification. The only way I heard about it was my shortwave radio. No, they tell you to sign up and they don't notify you. They tell you to get home insurance, but 97% of the people that had home insurance here in Santa Rosa are not able to rebuild, because when James Lee Witt from FEMA came in here, he made strong arm of everybody and says, you sign over your insurance to us, where you have to scrape 6 to 8 inches off your property because there's benzene in the soil, it's contaminated. We're going to give you 70% funding if you allow us to do this to your municipality, excuse me, to Santa Rosa, and we're in desperate need of money. So we went, Deborah Tavares and I went to the Veterans Memorial and tried to get these people to not sell their insurance over to FEMA. So once FEMA got the insurance, they negotiated with USA Today. They negotiated with all the insurance companies. And by the end of it, what was left after paying FEMA and paying the mortgages, nobody has any money to rebuild because everybody's undercovered on replacement costs.
Well, let me ask you this. After Hurricane Sandy hit, all the people that lost their property because of that freak storm that came up the coast, took a left, went into town, came back out, stopped at the store, grabbed a pack of cigarettes, and destroyed everyone's homes. Nobody's allowed to get permits to rebuild. Is that the same shit they're pulling? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's delay, confuse, wean them out. Like there was a bunch of homes, like a lot of people, like same thing as saying in Paradise, I'm never going back. I can't go back. It's PTSD. It's shell shock. I mean, guys, Vietnam veteran. Yeah. Vietnam vet guy came up and he literally cried on my shoulder. He goes, "This is taking me back to a horrible place, Jayme. It's just like looks like Vietnam."
Oh my God!
This is down. Oh, the trees are fine. And look at this. What's an iron tub melt? What's your bathtub of iron melt at? 2,800 to 2,750.
You know what I
degrees.
mean? It's amazing to me when I started seeing the pictures of the metal and everything melting. I've melted lead. I've melted Babbitt. I'm familiar with melting blocks into liquid. Trees go up, man. I camp. I hike all the time. You get a little loose with a campfire, no pun intended, it gets hectic. This isn't what's happening here whatsoever. And it's funny because the news kept showing all this dramatic damage through a bunch of bushes. You know, like they were framing the shot so you could see the trees. It's pretty flagrant.
Correct. No, they're doing it on purpose, and then they're coming out and saying, well, nobody died, don't worry about it. But here's all the new laws we're putting in. Just like after 9/11, they had the Patriot Act ready to go, 3,000-page document, but we don't know where the missing people are, Richie. We can't find them. We're looking for them. I'm going to go to the police station on Saturday saying I'm missing people. Now, this is a very interesting site. This Paradise Fire Adopt came up, and I tried to set up 2 missing persons site here in Santa Rosa after the Santa Rosa fires, and they took me down. They don't do body counts. They don't do body counts. General Frank said that. We don't do body counts. Remember when they turned off the cameras when they're bringing GIs back dead in the coffins and they stopped showing it because people were getting upset? We don't do body counts. Well, guess what's coming home to roost? All these things we've done, like the Trail of Tears in Iraq in 1991, where we torched that whole line of cars with directed energy weapons. The same thing happened in Oakland.
I can't believe you just said that, because there's probably someone named Bridget listening right now. I just brought that up about an hour ago, that exact Trail of Tears in Iraq, where they were all retreating and we nuked all of them. When I saw those cars in Paradise lined up, it's the exact first thing that came to mind. Those people, everybody decided to stay in their car and die in single file, nice and orderly. It's not how it works. There should be bodies in every direction trying to get away, not all sitting in the same spot. This is crazy.
Now what I really want to do, I don't want people to get freaked out. No. We're this is exciting stuff, but it's also, we need to tell people what they told me and what has been told many times now. When I got out, evacuated at 4 o'clock in the morning, October 9th, 2017, nobody had gas. I went to the gas station, Union 76. There were 50 cars with their lights off. This is the donation place. 50 cars with their lights off, and the gas station was completely closed. Same thing happened up in Paradise. They said one gas station, power was off. We couldn't get gas. We had to just sit there until the flames got too great. And then listen to this. So the point being is, people, keep your gas tank full. Keep it, 3/4 and above. Do not let your gas tank, because this can happen to anybody. And it did happen in 91 in Iraq. But that same year, look up the Oakland, California fires in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we just found the exact same profile of cars being torched then. We have this same event happen in Iraq, happen in Oakland, California, but we didn't know what we were looking at. Now you go back and see the pictures, and the cars were torched then. Some places were hit, some places were not. So we have all this evidence, but here in California, we just keep getting attacked again and again. And you know how they love their names, Paradise. So, it's wake up time for all. And if you think, you're not going to get hit, or it does not going to affect you, I just really encourage you to think again, because they really don't care about it. I don't think this is going to stop.
I don't think this, I think they've begun, and I think it's just going to keep happening. Like I said, I'm watching them conjuring up a monster storm down in the Gulf next to Texas. And the people down south are already, my subscribers at least, they're already gearing up for it.
Right. And Jerry Brown, Jerry Brown just came out the other day and amended his statement that says this is the new normal, and we can expect this for the next 25 years. So I quoted that, put it on about 2 weeks ago when I started covering this. And then just the other day, he came back on again, and he says, I want to amend my last statement. This is the new, first he said, anybody that's climate deniers, there's that soda, climate deniers, okay, you're the worst and you're the problem. While they're spraying the crap out of us, we're the problem? Are you kidding me? Then he said, this is the new abnormal, and this will be going on for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. This is the first inning, folks. They're telling us.
I've never seen them pushing they deny they spray the skies. I don't understand how people can't see it. Maybe if you're not, I'm 50 years old. I remember when the skies weren't full of checkerboard, so forth and so on. They deny it. They come out 2 years ago. They say they're finally going to do it. And then NASA comes out with this a couple of weeks ago and says that the Earth is in a 2-year cooling event. 2-year cooling event. So NASA says that. So Harvard says this, the Earth is cooling, so we're going to block out the sun. And people still don't get it. They don't understand. Owning the weather, being able to control the weather and manipulate it is exactly what we're seeing happening in California right now. You guys are getting destroyed, but you're just up, you're on deck. That's it. Like you just said, everybody else, we're all going to get our turn, and probably sooner than later, in my opinion. But
right, and they're playing the you know, the left versus right card. You know, the liberal California versus the conservatives. You know, the same time we had the borderline bar shooting with the fake crisis actors. Same time they hit Malibu, and then you have the immigration with Trump sending 10 to 15,000 troops armed and ready to shoot people going down to the southern border down there. So you can see what's going on. Another huge piece of this pie. And look at these companies. Back that up just a sec. That's a very critical document if you can. So these are all the satellites that they're launching up. Look at the numbers, Richie. 7,518 broadband satellites, 4,000 low Earth satellites. These are all they're just launching now. These are just recent information. They're launching the massive crap up there to put all of our energy. Our cars are going to be Wi-Fi'd from space platforms or sky platforms if you're a flat earther. And it's going to be all these, Elon Musk is going to be putting 5G, or it's already said that. And there's a company called Solarian Corp out of Manhattan Beach, which since 2009 has been saying all energy is going to be coming from the sky. And that's why all these huge, massive solar collectors in Fresno and all over the world, they're going to be the collectors. So they're going to take the sun. They got the sun satellites, who you put an excellent piece on sun satellites, what, a year and a half ago?
Couple
we know
years
what they're
ago,
doing
Boeing put those out. It's amazing.
Look at the names. Google and Samsung, the tech giants, are part of this, folks. PayPal,
Of course
Tesla
they are.
cars. God, can it get any clearer?
It's all a different finger on the same hand, basically. You know what I mean? Everybody that's allowed to get to be a PayPal person or a Tesla or an Elon Musk, you all get there, but you're going to have to kick in for the great work. And it looks like we're watching it happen, man. So
yeah, and so everybody that has their phones, you can connect it to your phones. Oh, this is the other thing that was really interesting for the people that are following the Bible and know about, you know, about Mount Ararat in Turkey, what the history of that is. So guess what is 26 miles due east of Paradise at the same elevation, or a little higher?
No.
Mount Ararat.
Oh
Way.
my. Oh,
now guess what's 20 miles due south of Mount Ararat?
Tell me.
The Lake Oroville Dam that everybody was flooded out for 2 years when the atmospheric river came in 2017, and we had the second greatest rainfall and snowfall in California in history after a 5-year drought. The Lake Oroville Dam, now we found out, got blown. We have information. There's a huge, I got to get this report out. There's something big that was underneath that. So they blew the dam at the same latitude as Paradise, as Mount Ararat. And the towns around Paradise are called Hellfire, Fleetown. The streets in the town are called Honey Run.
Are you shitting me?
I wish I was.
I'm glad you're pulling this stuff up. You're doing an amazing job. And I know that YouTube is already starting with the copyright strikes, because as soon as I mirrored one of your videos, I got a copyright strike making fun of Alex Jones 2 years ago, out of the blue. That's how they're going to do it. So I'll make sure your information is
They're making
available.
fun of Alex Jones, but Alex Jones was the fake news that they took the YouTube side on because he was fake news. And
That's
you're making
right.
fun of him, and they take you down?
They got me.
So
I got a copyright strike. Yep. So
and then they took us down with the Las Vegas when we did they let us do. I mean, they watch everything when they do, and it's my feelings and understandings now. They're letting me play, and I don't know why they're letting you play, but they're letting us play because I'm a flat earther and because it's contrarian. And so they'll call me a wingnut, so the information won't be credible. But you look at like Mike Adams, and I don't know your views on Mike Adams and Natural News, but I've exposed his backgrounds with Microsoft, all his spam companies making tens of millions of dollars, never disclosing any of it. But he just came out with an article questioning whether directed energy weapons was a viable use in the things that the conspiracy theories are saying. And then he ends it with, oh, the liberals in California and Dianne Feinstein, they're going to get what they deserve. I mean, this guy's supposed to be Mr. Analyst who gets all into the foods and analyzes McDonald's burgers, and he can't even look at this picture right here and see there's a company that's planning on. Look at that shot. What is up there?
Did you see?
I mean, what is that? That's aerogel right there. Those are called aerogels. It's 99.97% air. It's the technology, some of their super technologies they use to insert whatever they want in this shit. I mean, we are just
picture?
Right after that.
All right.
Here's the military saying, hey, 2020 ultra precision targets, you know, and you got people saying, I can't believe, look at that right in there. What is that?
That's a blimp. That's one of those. I just talked about these the other day. They're absolutely enormous. They have screens on the bottom so they can match the air around them. It's like looking at a movie screen, but you can't see it. They're these enormous dirigibles. They call them the Big Bum, and they make them in England and someplace in the United States, and they're about that size. Oh my.
Right.
And I just said it the other day. These would be a perfect platform for directed energy weapons because they can stay in one place and not make a noise. They don't make any noise. Oh,
right.
my.
And they use Tesla technologies, radio frequency. I mean, the camouflages is well known. We've got the ionosphere, how they do all this stuff. They're parking them up there. They're launching, I counted over 7,000. That's an aerogel platform. That's what they use to put over us. They're called Tesla domes, but that's the technology. Here's Elon Musk saying, we're going to use 4,000 low Earth sites for the internet 5G coming up here. I mean, these are all recent articles. It's full disclosure. I mean, we're seeing what they're doing. They're telling us what they're doing. And it's like, you can't stop us. I mean, they're like, and one of my scenarios, because I just play out all these different scenarios, how to get everybody. I have this feeling that they let us arm up. I mean, we're going to take away your guns. We're going to, pulse event, take away your guns. Sandy Hook, we're going to take away your guns. Boston, we're going to take away your guns. So what does everybody do? They go arm up, right? Everybody goes and buys guns. And the company that owns the most guns, Remington and everybody else, is called Cerberus Capital Management down in Sandy Hook. And a guy named Feinberg runs it. And he's got a guy named Donald Rumsfeld on the board of directors who made massive profits after Sandy Hook. And their symbol is Hades.
How many times have I said, people like, they're coming to take the guns? I'm like, they don't care about the guns. They have weapons that are going to make us being armed obsolete. It's not going to matter. They've also got technology where we wouldn't even remember how to use the gun. But I mean, we're seeing what they're having to do.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Seriously.
People buy guns and they don't go to gun. Nobody knows how to shoot. So what if, let's just say this, what if this movie is correct? Do you remember, you're old enough to remember the ABC miniseries? They used to have ABC miniseries. This is one of the companies, Black Sky Hazards, perfect timing. So my premise is they're going to shut off the lights. This is Black Sky Hazards, and create an EMP event. And in the EMP, electromagnetic pulse. Now, what if they turned off the power and daylight came and you didn't have any power, but all you had was your guns, and it's 3 days later? What do you think everybody would start doing?
Right. And it's funny because another channel, John X Army, sent me a link this morning saying, have you been paying attention? They're talking about this grand solar CME that's going to occur. And I'm like, well, I don't think the sun actually operates like that. But the fact that they're putting the information out so people will understand that, do you know the sun could turn the power off on the planet any day now? Well, that would be a black sky hazard. You know what I mean? And the winter is the best time, in my opinion. You want to take down a country like America, do it when it's cold.
Right. And this is what dovetails perfectly into what you're just saying. And this is a very, very, very critical. Get on YouTube and watch this. It's a 14-part series that was done over 7 nights, 2 hours a night, the most expensive ABC miniseries ever produced, 1987, called, drumroll please, America with a K. And the premise was 10 years after an EMP event, the Russians had taken over the United States, assassinated Congress, and what the country was like, which is divided into 13 sections. 13 is FEMA camp sections too, folks, 13. And it focused on Robert Ulrich, a famous actor at the time, Chris Christopherson and Muriel Hemingway were the stars. And the premise was these people, when they turned back on the lights, you had to work for the collective. And if you had farms, they gave you gas and they gave you food. But if you didn't, you were left on your own. And then if you got protesting too much, we just strafed you with our helicopters, or we rolled over you with the tanks. They showed it being happening. So after 14 hours of the most expensive ABC miniseries in history, called America, Chris Christopherson, who was the rebel, who was going to be the president before Russia took him over. He was supposed to be the guy to change everything. He was going to drain the swamp. I bet that language is used in this. I have to go back and see.
Oh, my God.
The end scene, Richie, is him getting a hold of a microphone to speak to all the people in America. And he says, my fellow Americans, I want to. And then the screen cuts away and you hear a bang. The movie ends.
Unbelievable.
So could they turn off our power at any second? If they did, what would you do, folks? Think a drill for a sec. Middle of the night, because the owls like to hunt at night. Middle of the night, the power doesn't come on and there's nowhere to go. There's no gas stations. You have no water. You have no electricity. What are you going to do? Now, I know you and I have thought a lot about what we're going to do, but I really want people to understand your cars may not work. You know, get a bike and a bike carrier. Be able to be mobile. Get some food in your homes and some water storage so you can hang out for a while. But don't have to be in the lines like I saw of people walking to the West Coast in the middle of the night because they had no one else to go. They had no one to help them. The fires are coming in.
You don't want to depend on these guys. I can't stress it enough. When the flooding happened in West Virginia, all the Red Cross was doing was driving around. When we pulled up there, a bunch of YouTubers pulled up there. The National Guard was sitting in their trucks. The Red Cross was driving around. We were cleaning things up and looking for people and making it habitable. They weren't doing shit. And what you're showing the video, they're not even bringing in trailers or anything. You get 52,000 people allegedly displaced, but they don't bring in housing for them, but they've got an entire command post set up. That's the writing on the wall right there. Don't depend on the government because they're not your friend.
And I posted to YouTube when I went to Houston. It was because, I don't know if you saw the Show Me Baby one from the Cajun Patrol guys that went in there. The State Department let him. Everybody's got to watch that video to understand what this man is saying. First person account. He was, and the people I interviewed on the ground in Houston, in Port Arthur, and the other 3 areas I went to, they all said the same thing. First of all, nobody's seen Red Cross. They've taken in $425 million of donated money of you and I gave them $1,000, and the money wasn't being distributed. Nobody had seen a penny. This is disaster capitalism. It's pure profit. California here for Santa Rosa fires. Redwood Credit Union, our local bank, took in $32 million and nobody's seen a penny. They loan you money, but nobody's seen a penny. Well, it turns out that Robert Steele, the board of directors of Redwood Credit Union, he is an executive at a company down the road in Petaluma called Global Alliance, who makes money on disaster capitalism. God.
These guys are like a bully. If there's nothing left of you to take, they just cast you aside. Don't depend on them. That's just all there is to it.
Well, and the planned genocide is what I'm calling this, of Paradise. This is the first attack that I know about, of watching all the different laser attacks we've seen over the past 1.5 years, 2 years, that came out during the daytime. And the first boots on the ground people that were there said, I was blinded by blue flashing light I could not see. The tree exploded in front of me, but no other trees were touched. And then it hit the Kmart building and torched that. Another guy, the tow truck guy.
I saw that. That was definitely, that's what it is. That's what they look like. So you caught that.
Yeah.
That's, if America was awake, that would be for posterity. And hopefully someday it still will be, because I'm saving it on a hard drive and everyone else should back it up. And if you're listening to this, save aplanetruth's videos and upload them, no matter how big your channel is. Share them everywhere, because it's a limited, the clock is ticking now. They're going to take us down for this. They're letting it go for a bit, but that won't last.
Yeah, and the other thing is, start your own channels and post this stuff. I mean, you and I just, we're open
source. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you're a subscriber, start your own channel.
Yeah, but we want it to get out to more, and we want to save it in many different platforms. So please copy and share all that you think is relevant, you know, and get it out there. Get it on BitChute, get it on Steelman, get DTube. I don't have time to post all this stuff.
I put you up on my Vimeo. I put you up on minds.com. I don't know what DTube is. That's too technical, but I guess I'll figure it out. But I'm putting you up everywhere, because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, let's talk about guns again. And this is a real comment that, well, first of all, just getting back to the tow truck driver, when he first went into town, Deborah Tavares asked him, you might have heard it on the, no, I don't know if I passed it yet, but he said it. He's just like, when I went in there the first time, she goes, what did you see when you first went in? He says, well, it was Sunday. The event happened on Thursday. So they called me up with a tow truck to come in on Sunday, and I was escorted by military police. And I only took out cars that were salvageable. I didn't take any other cars. And as I was driving by, I noticed something that didn't look right. So I got out of my truck and I looked in the car, and there was a body that had been melted down by the springs on the floorboard, or where it was the body. And I started looking at other cars and I saw the same things. And then I came by a school bus and I could not look in. The other guy said there was doubled up people in the school bus. I saw it. The kids were getting out of school on the school bus. This is 8:30 in the morning, folks. They planned it at the worst time when everybody's out of their houses, the kids are going to school, and they torched them. He told of another where people in a truck were coming down off the Hills of Paradise down to Skyway, the main area, and he saw a truckload of people, and he turned around, and it was on fire. It got hit. Independent surgical strikes and the worst possible casualties you can get. So at war, what do you try and inflict? The most possible harm you can. And is this what we're seeing, folks?
That's shooting fish in a barrel. That's an old military. I mean, that's exactly that. That brings me right back to the road coming out of Kuwait once again. That mile-long road.
Yep.
It was fish in a barrel.
Yep.
It does the most damage. It's psychological warfare. And there's a lot of videos from just regular people that are showing burned, dead people in burned cars, and nobody's even counting it. So, I mean, this is amazing to me. All the money these people take out of your paycheck every month, but when something like this happens, well, he can't pay taxes anymore, so we're not going to count him anymore. That's your government, just so you know.
Well, and what people keep asking me is, how come they're not looking for people? How come people, families that are missing people that lived up there, how come they're not looking for them? And my simple question is, who would you tell? Who's going to be counting? Who is it that does the counting of people that have been lost? And we already know from going down to Houston, we know they don't do body counts down there because the people in Houston, Hurricane Harvey, said to a person that was not a hurricane. To a person, they said, we were told it was a Category 4. Remember how they built that thing up? It was going to come for 9 days. Yeah. And then they downgraded. They told everybody it was downgraded to a tropical storm, so nobody left. They hit him with it was 10 inches of rain in 3 hours in the middle of the night. And so everybody was on their rooftops, and the only people they saw was the Cajun Army coming to rescue them. So they rescued them, took them to safe haven, and then the water went down. They went back to their homes, and this is why we know it's genocide. To a person, they said the same thing. We did not get flooded out. The problems didn't happen because of the rains that came. It's when they opened the dams above us and they flooded us out again. And Show Me Baby was saying he saw bullet-ridden bodies being flushed out to the Gulf of Mexico, and he said there was a FEMA barge sitting at Port Arthur. I didn't find it there, but these are people's stories saying they saw the same thing. Nobody counts, folks.
It's an old trick. They did the same thing at the World Trade Centers. They put everyone back in World Trade Center too. Don't worry, go back in. You don't have to evacuate. Everything's fine. 10 seconds later, boom. You know what I mean? They did the same.
No, thing. That's a good point.
They use the same. When you can get away with this stuff over and over and over again, why deviate from a plan that works? You know what I mean? And I've been for 10 years. 8 years. Almost 9. I've been quacking about chemtrails because it's worse. It's not just polluting the sky or blocking out the sun. It's a mass agenda. If they can look what they just did. Look what they can do with this. It's out of hand. All right, Jayme, I'm going to let you go. We've been going for a while here, but anytime you need, tomorrow, this afternoon, whatever. Anything you need, you simply hit me up, and I'm going to leave all the links in the description. They're already there, but I'll make sure they're there. Anything you need, brother, anything you want to say before we kill this? Did I lose you? He appears to be frozen. All right. Richie from Boston, Jayme from A Plain Truth, and we are out.